Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description. Subscribe to that as well.
Also, check out our friends at deck.com/ham, John.
Decked.com/ham. If you have a truck, if you're a working man, get on this right now. Decked.com/ham.
Makes organizing, accessing, protecting, securing, and everything you need so much easier.
Do it.
George Kittle on Good Morning Football, he also said this, John. So, Nick Bosa's coming back. We re-signed Trent Williams. Those guys are pretty decent. ESPN did a top pass rushers list, and Nick Bosa didn't make the list. We bring back Fred Warner, 5 starters in the secondary, and we got a decent tight end, end quote. I appreciate a good defiant, like no one believes in us. And I definitely appreciate a guy talking about a list that I couldn't find, even though I tried. Now, maybe it was, I don't know what pass rusher list he's talking about, but Bosa wasn't on it. He remembered it. Who knows who did it? He's pissed. So I love a player's ability, and I'm not being tongue-in-cheek. Like, I'm serious. Like, you left me off the list. You left my guy off the list. Middle finger to you.
I do think lists used to resonate, at least like they used to have more everyone agree. Like a list was a big deal 15 years ago when there were like 5 total lists. Right. There could be 7 million lists now. Like, yeah. I mean, every, swinging, what could have a list out there. I don't even know how you keep track. Now, if ESPN.com did it, I get it. My pushback would be, and I'm with you. I like this too. I like this mentality. George really is an underdog in the sense of his talent's not, but 5th round pick. Right, it was any to me late round pick is an underdog that becomes a star. Like they have the right mentality and the way he plays. He plays like every possession, every catch, every play that he's in is going to be his last. The thing I would push back on Nick Bosa, if he had been 4-year starter and in like back-to-back Pro Bowls, like I would get it. He played 1 year. Now that year was awesome, way better I think than even the Niners thought he was going to be, and they clearly loved him. Definitely better than, fans by halfway through, you're like, God, this guy's incredible. Like he was awesome. He was like Khalil Mack, who was probably the best pass rusher on the West Coast. Outside pass rusher, there's Aaron Donald too. But like what Nick Bosa does, he was nowhere near that good as a rookie. I guess Joey Bosa too, and Joey was pretty good. But remember, Joey sat out some games, and then he showed up and he started kicking everyone's ass. And I think I know myself, I'm like, is he really going to be as good as Joey? And they're different type players, but I think it's safe to say like he might be a little better than Joey because he's slipperier. Slipperier. Can't even say that word. That's the word I'm looking for.
That feels like a weird word.
Because when you're based on power, the way the NFL, you just can't run guys over every play. And not that Joey's a great power guy. Same with Khalil. But like Von Miller, when he's right, when you can just slip around guys, bend that edge, run the hoop, it's a borderline impossible play to stop. Like it really is when you can bend the edge, and Nick can bend the edge. Now, the knock on him is just because I do think George is right. If we got this guy healthy for 17 games, I'm with you. He's a fucking monster, and your defense is a lock to be good. Well, I think that's a question. Can they depend on that? To me, he's the biggest question of all the guys he listed. Because now even they got 2 quarterbacks. So even if Jimmy goes down, throw in Trey. Can Nick Bosa play the entire season? Hell, George, can you play the entire season?
Can their 5 starters in the secondary play the entire season? That's been an issue in the Niners secondary for several years, right? Hell,
Tart gets hurt a lot.
Jimmy Ward's been hurt.
K'Wan Williams will get
very
hurt.
Good player. Jason Verrett. One of the stories of the Niners last year was that Jason Verrett didn't get hurt. So the question with this team is not.
Well, the Chiefs
are they talented?
Chiefs brought in K'Wan, and they liked him a lot. I don't think the medical, not that we all know this. He's been injured. They were just a little uncomfortable. And I think the Niners clearly, they just took him back. He was so cheap. The medical is pretty risky with him. And
he was out there in the wind for a while.
Big time. You know why? Because he couldn't pass physicals. It's like bone on bone to his knee. But he is one of the best nickel corners. So they do have a lot of question marks for a team that on paper, I'm with everyone, is a playoff team. But I'd say it starts with Nick. Like, if I gave you over under 13.5 games, Nick Bosa.
If you told me right now he plays 13, take it or leave it, I'd like 14, but probably take that, but missing 4 games is not. That's a lot of games.
Yeah.
It's
The
almost
Chargers,
a quarter of a 17-game season.
The Chargers would take that with Joey.
Would you take, if I told you 13 games, take it or risk and try and get a 15-game, a 16-game year out of Nick Bosa? What would you do?
I try to do this with a stock.
Assuming it's not like the last 4 games of the season and he's done for the year.
I have this stock that's up about $7,000. I was going to pay off my credit card just with profits. And I'm like, I think it'd go up like another 10%. I'll have even some extra money. And then the last couple of days, like, whoop. And I got a little greedy. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'd be greedy. I'd want 15, 16 games. But if you said 13, I'd probably have to sign up for that.
Yeah.
Which is not good, right? Like if I told Sean McVay he gets 13 games out of Aaron Donald, he would not sign up for that, right?
No, but I also think part of this is, okay, do I get 13 games out of Nick Bosa, but Kittle, Fred Warner, my secondary, and Trent Williams play the whole year? Or is it 13 games out of Nick Bosa and 14 games out of Trent Williams and 15 games out of Fred Warner and 13 games out of, and then the secondary is piecemeal the whole, like that. Like, to me, if a guy gets hurt for 4 games, okay, that's the big difference.
Yeah, that's inevitable.
If you said 13 games for Bosa, but that's the only major like star player that gets hurt for the Niners, you'd go, okay, that you can do. If you tell me, well, they're going to have like 4 they're going to have 4 star players get hurt, you'd go, well, now I'll roll the dice because I need a full season out of Bosa. If you tell me that 2 guys in the secondary and Fred Warner each miss games. So, that's if you went through every team in the league and said, give me the big ifs with them. If X, then they're great. You go, if the quarterbacks are good and if they're healthy. That's what the Niners' ifs are, right?
Yeah.
If they're healthy, I don't know that they win the Super Bowl, but if they're healthy, they're in the play. Like, if this team is healthy, they are in the playoffs.
1,000%. Because their margin for error, too, they just have more good. Like, the Rams are extremely top-heavy, right? Like, if they have an injury, it might not be a big deal. But if it's Aaron Donald and he missed 2 months, they're screwed, right? If Jalen Ramsey's out for a month, they'd be in trouble.
Yeah,
that's where the Niners
Matt Stafford
are.
misses 3 games. Be interesting. John Wolford still on the squad?
I think he likes him a lot.
He does, but he got hurt trying to play him a certain way.
I know he got his neck broken. He didn't actually get his neck broken, but he did
go to the hospital.
Yeah, he got crushed.